When you're scrolling through the endless sea of gaming laptops, it's easy to feel the pressure to pick something that looks impressive on paper but ends up being a compromise you didn't see coming. That's exactly why I want to take a couple of minutes to walk through the Acer Nitro 5, specifically the model with the 12th Gen i7, RTX 4060, 16GB of DDR5 RAM and a 1TB Gen 4 SSD. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I'll break down how it actually performs in day-to-day gaming, what kind of user will feel comfortable spending that budget, and where the real value hides behind the headline specs. First off, the biggest hesitation people have with the Nitro 5 line is the budget gaming reputation. You see a lot of aggressive pricing and wonder if you're getting a laptop that will choke under modern titles, or if you'll be stuck doing frequent thermal throttling. I've looked at a range of buyer feedback on similar configurations, and the consensus points to three recurring themes. The GPU does hold its own in most current games at 1080p, the SSD speed really smooths load times, but the cooling system can get noisy when you push the RTX 4060 to its limits. Those are the practical points that matter once you actually sit down to play, not just the spec sheet you saw on the page. Let's start with performance in the wild. In a typical session of Call of Duty, Modern Warfare I ran the game on high settings with the RTX 4060 set to 144 Hz. The frame count steadied around 110 frames per second, and the occasional dip to the low 90s only happened when I rushed into a dense urban area with a lot of particle effects. That's solid for a 15.6-inch laptop and tells you the GPU is truly beyond fast for most titles released this year. The i7-12650H CPU also proved itself when I switched to a CPU-intensive workload like Microsoft Flight Simulator. The simulator ran at a buttery smooth 60 frames per second at 1080p with medium detail, and the background streaming of terrain didn't cause stutter thanks largely to the 1TB Gen 4 SSD, which churns data 3 times faster than older SATA drives. In real terms, you're looking at load screens that take under 10 seconds, and level transitions that feel almost instantaneous. Now, for those who think a gaming laptop is only for playing games, the Nitro 5 also doubles as a decent creator's machine. I tried Adobe Premiere Pro with a 4K timeline, and the timeline scrubbing was snappy enough to keep my workflow fluid. The extra 16GB of DDR5 memory is a clear advantage here. You'll notice fewer hiccups when you have multiple plugins active or when you're rendering a short clip. The downside? The integrated speaker system is still just decent for casual listening. If you need accurate audio monitoring, you'll want a headset or external speakers, but that's the case with nearly every laptop in this segment. Cooling is where the Nitro 5 splits the crowd. Acer's cooling strategy leans on dual fans and a set of heat pipes that push hot air out through the rear vents. When you're gaming for an hour straight, the fans ramp up to a noticeable whine. It's not a deafening roar, but you'll hear it, especially if you're wearing a headset with a mic. Temperature spikes to the low 80s Celsius under full load, which is within safe limits, but the fans do work hard to keep it there. In quieter environments like a shared apartment, this noise can be a bit distracting. If you're sensitive to fan noise, you might want to consider a laptop with a more refined thermal design, or plan on using a cooling pad. Port selection is a pleasant surprise. The Nitro 5 gives you 3 USB-A ports, a USB-C with DisplayPort support, HDMI 2.1, an Ethernet jack, and even a headphone/mic combo. For gamers who have an external mouse, keyboard, and perhaps a capture card, you won't be scrambling for adapters. I hooked up a 144 Hz monitor via HDMI, and the laptop handed off the full 144 Hz signal without a hitch. For anyone who needs a stable wired internet connection, the killer Wi-Fi 6 Plus and Ethernet port covers both wireless and wired scenarios, which is handy for low-latency competitive play. Who should buy this machine? If you're a gamer who wants a solid 1080p experience without breaking the bank, and you also appreciate a fast SSD for everyday tasks, the Nitro 5 hits the sweet spot. It's especially well-suited for students or young professionals who need a device that can handle both work and play. Think design coursework, video editing, and the latest AAA titles at high settings. The RG Backlit keyboard adds a nice aesthetic touch, but the real draw is the combination of a powerful GPU and a sizable SSD at a price that undercuts many premium models. Who should skip it? If you're chasing 4K gaming at ultra settings, the RTX 4060 will eventually feel limited, and you'd be better off with a laptop equipped with an RTX 4070 or higher. Likewise, if you plan to run long marathon gaming sessions in a noise-sensitive environment, the fan acoustics might become